Imagine two clocks mounted side by side. One is the puberty clock. For many girls, it rings with a first period in the early teenage years. The second is the modern adulthood clock. School, university, work, independence, relationships, and perhaps parenthood. That clock may keep ticking for another 15 years or more. Place those clocks side by side, and the question feels almost absurd. Why would a monthly reproductive cycle begin so long before most people are ready or even want to have a child? Has biology made a scheduling mistake? No. The mistake is in how we read the signal. A first period is not the body announcing that reproductive construction is complete. It is the moment one part of the system begins operating, while several others are still being calibrated. Menarche is simply the medical word for the first menstrual bleed. The first period does not begin puberty. By then, puberty has usually been underway for some time. Breast development, growth, and hormonal changes normally begin earlier. Menarche often arrives later in that sequence. Important, visible, but not the beginning and not the end. Imagine the reproductive system as an orchestra. Before the first period, the musicians are taking their seats and learning the conductor's signals. Then the orchestra plays its first recognizable note. That note is menarche. It proves the performance has begun, not that every instrument is already perfectly synchronized. During the early years after menarche, some cycles include ovulation and some do not. Cycle length can be irregular, and hormonal feedback is still settling. Some adolescents mature quickly, others take longer. Development is a continuum, not a switch that flips in one day. Ovulation means an ovary releases an egg, and an ovulatory cycle is a menstrual cycle without that release. So what starts this long transition? Inside the brain is an ancient biological control room. It does not wait for a social invitation. It monitors the body's development and begins changing the pattern of signals sent through the reproductive system. The conversation runs between three main stations: the hypothalamus in the brain, the pituitary gland just below it, and the ovaries. Rhythmic brain signals prompt the pituitary to send hormonal messages, and the ovaries respond. Scientists call this network the HPG axis. HPG axis means the hormone signaling network that connects the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and ovaries. Here is the missing piece. The puberty system is not choosing a date for childbirth. It is beginning a long adolescent transition, one that changes growth, hormones, body composition, and reproductive function over several years. Menarche creates the possibility of reproduction. It is not an announcement that development is finished or that pregnancy is now ideal. So did earlier humans simply become mothers as soon as periods began? Not usually. And there was never one universal ancient timeline. In many traditional societies, menarche happened later than it often does today. First birth still tended to follow several years afterward. The biological and parenthood clocks were closer, but they were never the same clock. Modern life widened that old gap from both directions. Better health, nutrition, and living conditions allowed puberty to begin earlier in many populations. At the same time, education, contraception, careers, housing, economics, relationships, and personal choice moved parenthood later. Biology did not suddenly become badly timed. The distance between reproductive possibility and chosen parenthood simply became much larger. Across OECD countries, the mean age at first birth rose from 26.4 years in 2000 to 29.5 in 2022, about 3 years in just 2 decades. Compare that with a first period commonly arriving around the early teenage years, and the modern gap becomes enormous. So periods seem early compared with what? Compared with modern parenthood, they can feel astonishingly early. Compared with puberty, menarche arrives later in a process already underway. And compared with childbirth, it was never meant to be a precise starting signal. The body is opening a reproductive possibility, while adolescence continues. Now, zoom into India, where this collision between the clocks becomes especially visible. A first period may arrive while a girl is still in school. Yet education, work, independence, relationships, and possible parenthood may belong to completely different chapters of her life. A 2024 analysis pooled National Family Health Survey data from 578,790 Indian women. It reported a weighted mean age at menarche of 13.49 years. Across its oldest and youngest birth cohorts, the mean shifted from 13.78 to 13.34, a difference of about 5 months. But that national average hides substantial variation. Timing differs across regions and socioeconomic conditions. An earlier Indian study found the same broad pattern, a gradual decline, but major spatial differences. India does not have one biological clock. It has millions of individual timelines. For one person, the first period may happen in middle school, and parenthood may come much later. Another may follow a completely different path, or never choose parenthood at all. The point is not that one timeline is correct. It is that the biological and social timelines are separate. There is another twist. In some populations, parts of puberty may also be moving slightly earlier. A global meta-analysis found that the onset of breast development shifted earlier by about 0.24 years, nearly 3 months per decade across the studies it examined. But breast development is not the first period. A 2024 U.S. cohort of more than 71,000 participants found mean recalled menarche shifting from 12.5 years in the oldest birth group to 11.9 in the youngest. It also found a longer path from the first period to regular cycles. That does not prove one cause, but it strengthens the two-clock mystery. Researchers are studying many interacting influences: genetics, childhood body composition, nutrition, health, psychosocial stress, and environmental exposures. There is no single settled explanation, and an association is not proof of cause. The honest answer is that puberty timing is complex. The puberty clock asks whether development has progressed far enough for the reproductive system to begin operating. It does not ask whether growth is finished, whether pregnancy would be safest, or whether someone wants a child. The social clock asks different questions about education, stability, relationships, opportunity, and choice. Those clocks were always separate. Modern life has simply pulled them much farther apart. Periods do not begin because the body expects immediate motherhood. They begin because menarche is one milestone in a long human transition from childhood toward reproductive adulthood. Even in traditional societies, first birth generally came later. The clocks were closer, but they did not strike together. Today, puberty may begin relatively early, while parenthood arrives decades later, or never. The clock rings, the orchestra begins, but the person is still developing. Periods start on time for puberty. They only look extraordinarily early when mistaken for a countdown to childbirth. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more such content.